Hey guys, Ben Paint here, and today we're back once again for another video, and this time we are at Herefordshire Raceway for round 3 of the SRK Championship. Now before we jump into the footage, if you do enjoy this video, can you please leave a like on it down below, as I really do appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button, as it really does help me out. Now we're going to jump straight into the footage here, and as you can see, for our first heat we are starting in pole position. Now we're going to stay on board for this first initial lap as we try to make some sort of a gap to the drivers behind. Now I really want to just try and get our head down, first heat of the day, and there was actually a double round here on this day, so both rounds 3 and 4 were amalgamated together, and this meant there was going to be a long day of racing. I've split the two videos, or 2 rounds, into 2 separate videos, so we'll have round 4 coming out very soon as well. But we're going to jump back into round 3 at the moment, and as you can see, we've got off to a steady start, getting our head down. Looking behind us, we had created a little bit of a gap, and we came across the line with a 34.2 second lap time to start off this heat. Now this is actually where we managed to stay, and we were also very consistent with a few 34.2s and 34.3 second lap times. And as you can see, we've sort of jumped back in to the very last lap, and what you can see on the right hand side is the rest of the pack, so we're able to just sort of jet away as quickly as we could. You can see there on the right hand side, that's the driver in second place, so we've been able to pull a mega gap on any of the other drivers in this heat, and now we're sort of just closing out this first one to secure first place. So really happy with this, and honestly couldn't have gotten off to a better start in this day. So once more, we're coming up and over the bridge to come across the line to the checkered flag, with our last lap being a 34.317. obviously stepping off the gas a little bit just due to being so far ahead, and honestly felt quite comfortable in that one. So now we move into our second heat here, where we actually are near the back of the pack. Obviously we started right at the front for the first one, now we're right at the back for the second one, and we're hoping to try and move ourselves forward from 12th position and try and pick up a couple of places here and there where we can. Obviously the further forward we're able to go, the more points we're going to score, and honestly the better the day is going to go. So we get loaded a little bit over the ramp, that forces us to sort of push Joe Peters wide as well, but we have moved up 2 positions pretty early here into 10th place, and I noticed pretty quickly that the rear end of this kart just didn't really want to settle and sit where I felt it was as good in the first one. So I knew we were going to have a little bit of a task on our hand with a kart that was slightly more troublesome to work with compared to the first one, and also being at the back of the pack. We've got Connecticut Racing Team teammate Jamie Shimon Chase up ahead of us here, so we're trying to follow him through it as much as we can. Unfortunately we're not able to get past Gabe on our inside, so we'll have to sit back in 10th place and sort of succumb to our fate here. But we're not going to give up here. Going into the first corner here on the second lap, we dive up the inside of Gabe, and we're also able to pick up 2 positions there in one corner, forcing our way through there up into 8th place. And now we're hoping to follow Jamie and hopefully be able to pick up a couple more positions, use him almost as a little bit of a mobile battering ram. You can see he's been able to do that very well. We've also got another Connecticut Racing Team teammate up ahead, Aaron Mitchell-Begley, so they're having a little bit of a battle with one another, with Mike Allen just behind them as well. So we're going to hopefully be able to make our way past Mike. He goes back towards the racing line there, not realising we were up his inside, and we're able to gain another free position up into 7th place. But it wasn't going to last for long, as we go back to the racing line and Mike shoots down our inside. We look for a little bit of a switchback, but unfortunately we don't have the overspeed, so we move back to the racing line and try and think of another way to get past. Unfortunately we weren't able to do this here, so you can see we're sat in behind Mike, and we're just hoping that we can keep pushing forward, keep that momentum going. We move forward a lap here. You can see the drivers up ahead are sort of all battling with one another, and we're hoping to get in on that action as well. Unfortunately, we just get caught napping by Gabe behind there, who sends it down our inside into the second hairpin there and gets a very good move done on us. This then forces us out wide going under the bridge, and we lose out another position, pushing us back down to 10th place, so back down essentially near where we started, which wasn't too happy with this, as we'd obviously made a lot of progress in this heat so far to move ourselves up to as high as 7th, and now we are back down in 10th. We weren't going to take that lightly. Going into the first corner once again, we really did enjoy that move, diving up the inside to take 9th position. And here in this point in the heat is where it all sort of unravelled. We get a little bit greedy here behind Mike, just really forcing him off the apex, forcing our way through. But unfortunately, as you'll notice, when we come across the start finish line, we do in fact receive an under review board. Now due to the nature of the day, a lot of the drivers that were receiving an under review board were straight away then receiving a penalty, so I knew that I had to get my head down, and that's exactly what we did in this lap, which was in fact our fastest lap of this heat. Had to get our head down and try and push ourselves forward towards Gabe Quinter and Matt Baker up ahead of us, because if we were able to gain a couple of positions back, then we wouldn't drop so far back, considering the penalty, which was going to be a 3 or 5 place penalty depending on the severity. Obviously at the time I wasn't aware of what that was going to be, so you can see there again we've received another under review board as we come across the line with a 34.217, which is our fastest lap of the day so far. Later in the race, Gabe goes for a huge lunge coming up and over the bridge, which clearly I was a little bit confused about, as he was able to really force his way past without receiving any sort of review board either. So at this point I knew that it was sort of becoming no holds barred. Matt Baker was having absolutely none of it, goes diving into Gabe there to try and get that position back. I try and perform some sort of switch back, but unfortunately just don't quite get the rotation on the kart. We're then getting assaulted from behind as well, but luckily for us we're able to just hold that momentum enough where we're able to swoop in behind Gabe here and take the position from Matt Baker. So we're able to move ourselves up into 7th place now at this point, and we're hoping to see if we can out-drag him to the line, but we lose the back end of the kart a little bit. We're trying to urge the kart forward as much as we can, but unfortunately we come across the line in 7th place, which then reflected into 10th after the penalties. So we did in fact receive a 3-place penalty in this one. Not too happy with this, but we did still gain 2 places from the beginning of the heat. So we move into the 3rd and final heat here, behind Matt Wiles and Finley Williams up ahead of us here, and we're hoping to get off to a better start and try and rectify the 2nd heat. Obviously wasn't too happy with how the 2nd heat unfolded. Obviously just a little bit of a mistake, getting a little bit too greedy with positions, and that caused us to lose out on 3 places. Matt is already going defensive up ahead of us here, so we're hoping to try and find our way past as quickly as possible. We're already losing a bit of a gap to the 3 drivers up in the front, and luckily Matt just opens up to the racing line and we're able to just slot ourselves back down the inside, so we are in behind Finn Williams once again. And this is where we stayed for the next lap until we were able to catch up to the back of him here. So we're really trying to push our way forward. The gap to the drivers up ahead has increased more and more with Finn defending, and luckily for us we're able to get that overspeed coming through the first corner, and we're able to then slot up the inside going into the first hairpin at the middle section of the lap. So we're able to secure 4th place now at this point, and I was really going to try my best to push forward and hopefully, with the other drivers up ahead of us having a little bit of a battle, be able to gain another position or 2 or 3 maybe. So we're going to really get our head down here and see what we can do. Now we're coming across the start finish line with Finley Williams behind us still. He's telling us to push forward, and that's exactly what we want to do. We don't want to waste any time defending. We want to just get our head down and see what we can do. Now unfortunately we just didn't really make much progress, so we jump in here to the last lap, which was in fact the fastest lap of the final heat. The 3 drivers up ahead of us are having a little bit of a scrap, but we just weren't able to make any inroads towards any of them, and unfortunately this just meant this is where we're going to stay. So we're really trying to put the pedal down here as much as we can, see what we can do. We are gaining a little bit of time on this lap, but obviously it's nowhere near enough to catch up. We'd have to gain a couple of seconds on this lap, which wasn't going to happen. So once again we're trying to take some nice smooth lines here, coming up and over the bridge, trying to keep the car as stable as possible, holding that momentum, and we come across the line with a 34.434, which wasn't as quick as our other 2 heats, 2 tenths off the pace. So unfortunately, no matter what I did in that one, I just wasn't able to find any more pace. Now with this we move ourselves into the B final. We are starting in 2nd place, so even despite having that 10th place finish with a penalty, we still lined up in 2nd place in the B final. We get loaded from behind there quite early on, threw us off our line a little bit, and that allowed Ben Franklin to create a little bit of a gap, but we're really going to try and see what we can do, and maybe even if we're lucky get ourselves up into that A final. Obviously the finals are a little bit longer, so I knew we had a little bit more time to work with and hopefully be able to work some sort of move as the day was going to round out here, or wasn't going to round out because we're going to move into round 4 later on in the afternoon. But here you can see Ben is already going pretty defensive off the bat, and I knew that this was going to be a bit of a struggle to try and get past, because it is a bit of a difficult track to overtake at if a driver is going ultra defensive. So you can see here immediately we're checking over our shoulder, there is a train behind us, and we're going to try and work some sort of move if we're able to. We come across the line on the first lap with a 34.834. We're looking for some sort of gap here. Ben is going ultra defensive, driving on the inside very well. He's maintaining his position in a very excellent manner. Once again he's staying to the inside. There's not really too much we can do. We can't exactly drive around the outside of him here, so we're looking for a gap here, trying to just throw him off. make him go one way, fake to the other. Unfortunately, we don't quite have the overspeed or any sort of momentum to make our way past. So again, we're still just sort of stuck in second place at this point, and hoping that if we catch him napping, we can get him near the end of the race. So we come across the line here once again with 35.385, which just sort of shows the nature of how much he was defending and how much time we were going to lose if we were going to sit in behind him. Once again, we try and go around the outside of him, coming into the first hairpin here, but unfortunately we don't quite have the overspeed, so instead we have to sit back in second place yet again, and once more we skip forward a lap as we're still in the same place, sort of a second off the pace. We carry way too much momentum there, coming under the bridge and go right into the back of him, and we're really struggling here to try and make any sort of move work. We look over our shoulder here once again and see James Wiltshire is now pressuring us. I'm trying to say to him, look, let's work together, let's try and force some sort of opening rather than sitting in second place. I was trying everything I could here to really throw him off and maybe go for some sort of move, but I did realise in the back of my mind at this point too that James was going to be pressuring me as well, hoping to pounce on any mistakes that I was going to make. So you can see here once again I'm sort of driving the inside lines here to try and preserve my own position. So we move on here really late in the final here to the 11th lap out of 12, so we're just about to move on to the 12th and final lap of this final. Ben has defended superbly throughout this whole final. It's just here on this last lap where we catch him napping here. He goes out towards the middle of the track. We're able to do that signature dive down the inside into the first corner. Once again, we're able to make the move stick, moving us up into first place, which I was really happy with. And I was hoping now at this point I had a little bit of a gap, threw him off, and we go back to the racing line very stupidly, and Ben is able to dive back down our inside yet again. You can see I'm sort of really annoyed at myself. We then got Sam Slater, who's looking to capitalise on us behind, and he's got his car up the inside. We're able to hang it around the outside here and hold on to second place, but unfortunately we just sort of threw away that first position once again, much like we did at Formula Fast in the last round. You can see how frustrated I am with myself, but we come across the line in this one in second place in the B final, which obviously wasn't too happy with at the time, but it is still a pretty good result. As you can see here, we find ourselves finishing in 13th place overall, which is another really solid result for the championship, much like we did in our first round. However, this does in fact bring us to the end of the video, guys, so I hope you have all enjoyed this one. If you have, can you please leave a like on the video down below, as I really do appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button, as it really does help me out. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.